Welcome back. I'm here. And today we're re-looking at 3 most horrific true horror stories on The Dentist Offers a Third Set of Teeth. And now for the first story, The Dark Secret. It was an old house with peeling paint, overgrown bushes that completely covered the windows, and a broken swing set in the front yard. As I drove by, I saw the dentist sitting on the porch in a rocking chair. He waved at me and smiled, revealing teeth that were just a little too sharp for my liking. But I figured it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. Due to the late hour and the fact that the office was closed, I had an appointment with this dentist the next day, and I was already nervous about the visit. He was highly recommended by my mother, who swore by his work, but I couldn't help but feel apprehensive. I hadn't been to the dentist in years, so I was due for a thorough cleaning and a checkup. I had several cavities, which I knew would result in fillings. And as a kid, I had always hated going to the dentist's. The sounds, smells, and tastes were all traumatic memories that I tried to forget. There were magazines lying around on the floor, and the walls were decorated with motivational posters featuring teeth. I sat down in the leather chair and the hygienist began the cleaning. She was friendly and professional, but as she began to scrape and prod my mouth, I felt more and more uneasy. Was I crazy, or did I see one of her fingernails while she was doing her job? I didn't say anything because I didn't want to be accused of being difficult, but I started to get suspicious. After what seemed like hours, the hygienist left and the dentist came in. He wore gloves and a mask, which gave me the creeps. For some reason, he seemed very interested in my personal life. We talked about my family, my job, and my childhood. I noticed that he kept leaning back in his chair and staring at something behind me. I turned around and saw nothing out of the ordinary. He then began examining my teeth and wrote down some notes on his clipboard. "You have quite a few cavities, but don't worry," he said with a smile. "I think I have a solution for you." I became alarmed, but before I could ask any questions, he injected something into my gums. "This will numb the area and allow me to do my work more efficiently," he explained. As he began drilling, I heard a loud thump from inside the wall. I asked him to pause so I could listen, but he continued drilling and ignored my request. Several minutes later, another sound echoed through the room. It sounded like a muffled scream. Concerned for my own safety, I tried to leave, but the door was locked. Panicked, I pressed against it, but it wouldn't budge. Suddenly, the dentist stopped drilling and spoke in a low voice. "Don't worry, I'll have everything fixed for you in no time." He picked up a small hammer and tapped on one of my teeth. It hurt so much that I cried out. Then I noticed a glint of metal in his hand. It was a sharp instrument with a long handle. He leaned closer and whispered, "Would you like a third set of teeth?" I screamed at the top of my lungs. Just then, the door burst open and a woman rushed in. She yanked the dentist off me and helped me get out of the chair. As we stumbled outside, I saw blood dripping from my mouth. I looked back toward the office, but the woman wouldn't let me stay there any longer than necessary. As we drove away, she told me that she was my mother and the dentist was her ex-husband. "He took you when you were 8 years old and never returned you," she said, tears streaming down her face. "But why? Why did he keep me all those years?" "Because he wanted to use you as a test subject for his twisted experiments," my mother replied. "He planned to turn you into a new monster, someone who would make him proud." And now for the second story, The Twisted Smile. I was born with a rare condition where all of my teeth are replaced with bone. Doctors tried their best, but they could only pull out a couple of teeth. So I grew up without teeth until I was 25 years old. I was desperate to have teeth again. So I went to a famous dentist who specialized in complicated cases. He said that he could fix me up with dentures. That would look perfect on me. So I went under anesthesia and woke up with a smile that was even better than I imagined. There was only one problem. They were so real looking that every time I tried to take them out, my family thought that I was having a heart attack. I couldn't eat or drink with them either, so I just took them out and put them in a box. A few months passed and I still couldn't use the teeth. So I decided to visit the dentist again. He tried to calm me down and reassured me that everything would be fine. But after the procedure, I panicked when I couldn't remove the teeth. I ran to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. My gums were raw and bleeding. That's when I saw the horrifying truth. The dentist had given me real teeth instead of dentures, and now I was trapped with a permanent smile. I tried to call for help, but nobody could hear me. The dentist had given me real teeth and then buried them in my gums. I struggled to free myself from the tomb that the dentist had made for me. I scratched and clawed at my gums, but it was no use. The teeth were firmly planted in my mouth, and I was trapped forever. I could feel my skin crawling as the dentist approached me with a syringe filled with poison. "You can't escape," he hissed. "You belong to me now." I screamed and tried to fight back, but it was too late. The dentist plunged the needle into my arm and darkness consumed me. When I woke up, I was strapped to a table in the dentist's office. I struggled against the restraints. The dentist stood over me, a cruel smile on his face. "Welcome to your new home," he said. "You'll never escape from me." I thrashed wildly, my eyes bulging with terror. "Help me," I cried, but no one could hear me. The dentist tightened the straps until I could barely breathe. "You're mine now," he whispered, his breath hot on my ear, "and I won't let you go." And now for the final story. Buried alive. I had a horrible experience with a dentist that I want to share with everyone. This happened many years ago, but the memory still haunts me. I had gone to a dentist to get my wisdom teeth removed. Everything went well during the operation, but after I woke up, I felt awful. The pain was excruciating, and I started vomiting. My parents were with me the whole time, and they were shocked by how bad I felt. Instead of giving me medicine for the pain, the dentist insisted that I get up and walk around. He said that if I stayed in bed, I would feel worse, but I couldn't move. The pain was unbearable. I lay in bed, crying and screaming for help. My parents tried to comfort me, but they were no match for the dentist. He kept telling me to get up and walk around, but I couldn't do it. I was trapped in my own body, unable to move or speak. Finally, my parents took me home, but the pain just got worse. I couldn't eat or sleep, and the dentist wouldn't return my calls. My parents were furious and demanded that the dentist come over and fix me, but he refused. He said that it was normal to feel pain after the operation, and that I should just wait it out. But I wasn't getting any better. In fact, I was getting worse. My mom noticed that I had stopped speaking altogether. I just lay in bed staring at the ceiling. She was terrified and called the police. When the officers arrived, they went to the dentist's house to arrest him, but he had fled. I spent the next 3 days in agony. I couldn't move, eat, or speak. And then something terrible happened. I started to black out. I remember feeling myself slipping away as my body shut down from the pain. I thought I was going to die. At that point, my parents rushed me back to the hospital. They didn't know it, but the dentist had buried me alive. I had died from the pain, but somehow I had come back to life. I don't know how long I was dead for, but when I came to, I was in a hospital bed hooked up to machines. My parents were there, along with a team of doctors. They had brought me back from the dead. The doctors told my parents that I had suffered brain damage because of the pain. I wouldn't be the same ever again. I had to relearn how to walk, talk, and eat. And even today, I still have nightmares about the dentist. I can't understand why he did what he did. And even though I'm okay now, I will never forget the pain that he caused me. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.